There we go. Okay, review day 1. So today's date is 1/14/19. Okay, now and I hand wrote this just because I didn't have time to type them all out, but they're pretty good reviews. A lot of the stuff you'll find on your final. Okay, so you want to hang on to these review sheets. Okay, Lana, you ready? Okay, so number 1, right? 8x squared, right? Minus 12x minus 8. Done. Just add the terms that are like 3x squared plus 5x squared, 8x squared, minus 4x, minus 8x, negative 12x, positive 2, negative 10, negative 8. We're just combining like terms. Thumbs up? Okay, number 2. Personally, I always want to do this first. I'm usually afraid of making mistakes with double negatives, so I just bring the negative through first. It just helps me. So I'm going to rewrite this as a negative 4, a positive 3x, and a negative 2y. That way I don't worry about the double negatives or positive negative. I just bring the negative through, and then I combine like terms. So 4x with a 3x is going to give me a 7x. I'm going to put my 3y with my negative 2y makes a positive 1y. And my negative 4 and negative 6 make negative 2 and negative 4 makes a negative 6. Okay? So again, if you're subtracting the whole thing, if it has parentheses, I distributed the negative through first, and then I combined like terms. Okay, thumbs up. Okay, we've done all this. Number 3, and if I get going too fast, tell me please. Number 3 is just a FOIL. X times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is a negative 4x. 3 times x is a positive 3x. 3 times negative 4 is a negative 12. Okay, we can combine these two middle terms. We've got a negative 4x and a positive 3x, which will make a negative 1x. So my answer will be x squared minus 1x minus 12. Okay. Number 4 could be tricky, but we're not going to let it be tricky because we're going to write this twice. It really means 3x plus 1 times itself. It really does. So we're going to rewrite it as a 3x plus 1 times a 3x plus 1 because quantity squared means something times itself. So now it just becomes a FOIL problem. 3x times 3x is a 9x squared. 3x times 1 is a positive 3x. 1 times 3x is a positive 3x. And a 1 times 1 is a positive 1. Okay? Okay, again, I'm going to combine like terms. 3x plus 3x is 6x. So we're going to go 9x squared plus 6x plus 1. How am I doing? Any questions yet?
No.
Okay, you guys can do this, can't you, on Thursday? It should be easy. Okay, number 5, factor. Well, I'm going to go parentheses, 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 right? And I need to make an x squared. So I'm going to go x and x makes my x squared. Now, to make it 12, Quinn, we're going to think, okay, what are the multiples of 12? 4 and 3, 2 and 6, 1 and 12. Those are all the possibilities, but we also need to bring them together to make the 7. So I'm going to use the positive 4 and the positive 3. And again, you guys, we can check with our double smiley, or our double smiley, 4x, 3x. So we know that the 7x is there. We know we're correct, okay? Now 6. A lot of kids miss 6 because you want to do it like 5, but we're not. We're going to notice that they have a 5 in common, and we're going to notice they have an x in common. So we're going to common factor. So they have a multiple of 5 in common. I'll factor that out. And they also have a common x in common. I'll factor that out. Now, after I common factor out the 5x, I'll only have an x minus 2. Again, if you want to check your answer, you can just distribute 5x times x. Yeah, that's a 5x squared. 5x times negative 2. Yeah, it's a negative 10x. Okay? Okay, so this times this does make the 5x squared. And this times this does make the negative 10x. Okay? So it's common factoring. And that is missed a lot because everybody wants to do it like a trinomial factoring. Okay, number 7 should be the easiest. It should just be an x plus 7, x minus 7. Number 7 should be the easiest one. X and x, right? And then a positive 7 and a negative 7. Positive 7, negative 7. That's it.
Oh, we don't have to find the answer?
No, not yet. Not till number 9. Okay. Because of the equal sign. Do you see the equal sign? So with equals, it's kind of saying, okay, now tell me what x equals. Right? Got it? Okay, 8. So I got to be a little bit careful because the multiples of 5 won't make it 11. Again, the multiples of 5 will not make it 11. But with the help of the 2, we're going to get it there. So I know for sure 2x, x, because that makes my 2x squared. Multiples of 5, I've got to be careful where I put them because to make the double smiley, I got to make an 11. So if I put the 5 here, I know the 2 and the 5 makes a 10, okay? If I put the 1 here, so here's my 10, remember my double smiley, there's my 10x, there's my 1x. That will make a 11 if I have a negative and a negative, will make the negative 11. So we can check that, okay?
Wait.
Negative times negative is a positive 5. Then check our double smiley, okay? That's a negative 10x. That's a negative 1x. Together they do make the negative 11x. Okay? So we've got to be careful. If there's a number in front of x squared, we have to be careful, okay? We have to check with the double smiley, okay? How am I doing, okay?
You're doing great.
All right, thanks, Andy. Now, here it is. It says solve, right? So we factor many equations. Factor, we need many equations, okay? And then we'll solve, okay? Has an equal sign in it. We're going to have to solve, so let's factor. All right. I'm going to go negative 6, positive 1. Negative 6, positive 1, because when I multiply, negative 6 times 1 is a negative 6, but when I add the two terms, I do get the negative 5. But I'm not done, right? Now I need my many equations to solve for x. So go x minus 6 equals 0, x plus 1 equals 0, right? And if I solve plus 6, one of my answers is positive 6, minus 1, x equals negative 1, okay? How many answers? 2, right? Because it's x squared. Thanks, Zoe. Okay, 10 should be a really easy one. I'm going to factor, though. I'm going to go x plus 2 minus 2, right? And then I have my mini equations, x plus 2 equals 0, x minus 2 equals 0, right? Am I going too fast or am I okay? Oh, I did. Thanks, Isabella. It's Monday, huh? Minus 2, one answer is negative 2. Plus 2, the other is positive 2. How am I doing?
Wonderful.
Okay, good. Okay. Turn the page. Okay. All right. Graph paper. I'm going to get some graph paper out. Okay. Let's check this one out, okay? So I got 2 problems. It's going to take a little bit of work. If you need graph paper, raise your hand. Anybody need graph paper? Okay. Graph paper. Pass it around, please. Land and what do you guys? Thank you, Morgan. Okay, need graph paper. Morgan's bringing some around.
Oh my gosh. Where's the one I do it? Have you seen Lemonade Mouth? No.
Tried to not like
Oh, I should have made that a negative 5. Okay, first mistake I found of the day. First mistake, make that a negative 5. Make that a negative, okay? First mistake, make that a negative. Okay. All right. First thing I did. Change that. Change that to a negative. My bad. It won't work unless that's a negative, okay? Change that to a negative. Everybody change that to a negative 5. Subtract 5. My bad. It should be x squared minus 4x minus 5. Okay? All right. Line of symmetry. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is this. I know my line of symmetry. Line of symmetry is x equals my negative b over 2a. Now, we haven't seen this for a long time, but hopefully it's going to come back to you, okay? Line of symmetry is going to be found by little mini equation x equals negative b over 2a. So a is 1, b is negative 4, and c is negative 5. So my line of symmetry is going to be x equals a negative 4 over a 2 times a 1, okay? My a is 1, my b is negative 4, and my c is negative 5, okay? So if I simplify that, I'll get a positive 4 over 2, because the double negative, which is 2. So my line of symmetry is just x equals 2. So x equals 2 is a line, a vertical line, at 2. So I just put in my dash vertical line. And what the line of symmetry does is it actually goes right down the middle of my parabola, right? So now I need to find the vertex. Okay, I can do that. The vertex is going to be 2 something. The vertex has to lie along the line of symmetry. Has to, okay? 2 something. To get the corresponding y, we just plug that in, right? So I'm going to go, okay, y equals my 2 squared minus my 4 times my 2 minus my 5, right? So I get 4 minus 8 minus 5. Let's see. Negative 4 should be negative 9, okay? So my vertex is 2, negative 9. All right, I'm going to put that on my graph. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? Okay, go ahead. So I found my 2, which is, I found it from my negative b over 2a. So my vertex has to be on my line of symmetry. Has to be. So I took my 2, and I plugged my 2 into the equation for x to find its corresponding y value. So I did that, and I got negative 9. So my vertex is at 2, negative 9. Okay? Now, I also need x-intercepts. To get x-intercepts, okay, what I'm going to do is set it equal to 0. So I'm going to have x-intercepts. We're going to let y equal 0. So let's just do a little common sense. I like to call it common sense because sometimes math is just common sense. I know you don't believe me on that, but it is kind of common sense. So x-axis, right? X-axis. So x-intercepts, intercepts where it crosses the x-axis, right? What's the height of that? The height's 0, isn't it? Along the x-axis, the height is 0, or the y value is 0. So if we set y equal to 0 and solve, we'll get our x-intercepts. So we'll go 0 equals x squared minus 4x minus 5. And I'm just going to factor, right? I'm going to factor and do my mini equations. And I'll go, and how many answers, Zoe? 2. And there should be 2 x-intercepts, okay? So we'll get x and x. I'll go minus 5 and positive 1. Because those are some multiples. We'll smack them later. Okay. So mini equations, or if we solve it, we give x equals 5 and x equals negative 1, okay? So those are my x-intercepts. And I'm going to go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to go negative 1, okay? So I'm getting a few things from my graph. Now the last thing I have to do is the y-intercept, which is actually the easiest. Okay, the y-intercept is just negative 5. So the y-intercept from y equals x squared minus 4x minus 5 is just negative 5. Just like it would be like in any graph. What's that? The y-intercept? So if x is 0, what do you wind up with? X equals 0, what do you wind up with? 0, 0. The answer would be negative 5, right? So that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and put down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? And I'm almost ready to graph, right? Now I do know, using a little bit of common sense, right here, right? See where my pencil is? Right here. There's got to be another point. You guys agree?
Yes.
Has to be. So let's put that in there because it's reflected, and then just draw it in. Okay, that might be one of the harder problems, but we've done a lot of parabolas in the first quarter, right? A ton of parabolas in the first quarter, okay? All right, almost done. And then we'll stop recording and play a Kahoot for bonus points, okay? All right, last one, number 12. So, ball is kicked across the field and follows the path h equals negative 16t squared plus 48t. So, it looks something like this, okay? All right, soccer ball. We want to find, first of all, how high does the ball go? So we want that point right there, right? Which is the vertex, right? Okay, so we're going to find the vertex. So we're going to say, okay, t, because it's time, t is equal to negative b over 2a, right? Because that's my vertex formula. And let's see, t equals, let's see, negative 48 over 2 times negative 16. There's my a and my b. So I put my negative b, negative 48, over 2 times my a, which is my negative 16. Okay, so that becomes negative 48 over negative 32, which is 1.5. Now, that can't be the answer. 1.5 can't be the answer, but that's the time. That's the time. So we kick it, 1.5 seconds, it's at its highest, but that's not the height, right? So we plug it in. Plug it in. So let's plug it in. Plug in t equals 1.5, okay? And we're going to go then negative 16 times 1.5 squared plus 48 times 1.5. Landon, I'll borrow your calculator, okay? Because I'm just going to plug it in, okay? Plug it in. All right, I'm going to go then on clear. We'll go negative 16 times parentheses 1.5 squared plus 48 times 1.5, and we get an answer of about 36, okay? That's the height. So I'm going to circle, that's the height. So that's my vertex, 1.5 comma 36, okay? Now, the last question is actually pretty easy, okay? Xavier, stop talking. Okay, the last question is pretty easy, okay? Thanks, guys. So if it takes 1.5 seconds to get to here, how much time does it take to hit the ground?
3 seconds.
That's it, just 3 seconds, isn't it? It's that easy. So, hits the ground. Ground at 3 seconds. Okay, Caleb, question.
So if I graph this,